The other day, I came across an article. There was this 34-year-old man in Gurgaon who earns around 40 lakh rupees a year. 2 BHK house, drives a BMW. Statistically speaking, he is in the top 1% of Indian earners. And he told his doctor he had anxiety because he felt poor. He just couldn't sleep at night because of that. I mean, वो अपने आप को गरीब कह रहा है. And then I started reading more. I remember reading this another article that triggered a lot of people. C.A. Sarthak Ahuja was saying 70 lakhs per annum is the new middle class. His point was if you start with 70 lakh rupees salary, after tax, home EMI, car EMI, school fees, and maid, you're left with about 1 lakh rupees a month for groceries, fuel, healthcare, vacations, and savings. That's crazy if you think about it. And the thing is, you can't just tell that BMW guy ki just invest bro, SIP karo, because that isn't his problem. If you put 40 lakh rupees in his account, he'll find a way to spend 41, or if it's 41 then 42, और फिर वो BMW भी cheap लगने लगेगी. I've interviewed over a dozen finance experts and almost all of them said the same thing. The number one reason that keeps people poor, even people who earn well, is lifestyle creep. So, how does it work and how do you avoid the trap? For this, I came up with a 10-point framework which I'm sure will help you. So, let's unpack it. Hi, I'm Arunima, and you're watching How Bizarre. Let's begin. First of all, this is for everyone. People who are good at math, bad at math, are like mid at math. The personal finance equation is ridiculously simple. What you earn minus what you spend equals what you save. That's it. इतना ही है भाई. Wealth is built by keeping this gap between the two numbers as wide as possible for as long as possible. Every Indian who's ever earned a salary knows this. And yet, the moment people start earning, they don't just widen that gap, they actually shrink it. People underestimate how much money leaks from lifestyle creep. A race should widen the gap between income and saving, not just upgrade the car. And this is so true. This is called lifestyle creep. Every time your salary goes up, your expenses end up going up too. Promotion mili, bigger flat. New role mila, better car. Appraisal means a Dubai trip. By the time you're in the top 1%, you're still living paycheck to paycheck, just with nicer paychecks. Behavioral economists actually have a term for this. It's called hedonic treadmill. What that means is you buy your new thing, your brain adjusts in 3 weeks, now you need the next thing to feel good. आप वहीं के वही हो, but the dopamine hit is real. Now, you must be thinking, yaar Arunima, this is just that one Gurgaon guy. Please don't generalize. Most Indians aren't like this. So I went and checked. Well, turns out most of us are, whether we like it or not. RBI has its own handbook of statistics and they released it in August 2025. Guess what it said? India's net household financial savings dropped to 5.3% of GDP in FY23. That's, by the way, a 47-year low. The year before that, it was 7.3%. So, in 1 year, the country's savings rate fell by nearly one third. And what about the other side? Household debt hit roughly 41.3% of GDP by March 2025. Credit card outstanding debt doubled in 5 years to about 2.8 lakh crore rupees. Now, here's the bit that actually shook RBI too. Non-housing retail loans, I'm talking about credit cards, personal loans, consumer EMIs, the buy now, regret later stuff, those make up over 55% of total household borrowing. Why is that important? For most of Indian history, households took loans to build something. It could be a home, a business, a farm. Today, most of the debt goes towards spending. It could be on vacations, phones, cars, sofas. So that Gurgaon BMW guy isn't an outlier. He's the median. Okay, so the data has confirmed it. But why does this happen? Why does a man making 40 lakh rupees a year still want more? The answer to that is actually a psychology theory, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but Raj Shamani unthinkingly tweeted the same idea. He said human desire is rarely autonomous. You only want things because you see others wanting them. You actually don't want the curated lifestyle, you want the social validation that comes with it. That's it. Social validation. The fancy term for this is mimetic desire. In the 1960s, a French philosopher named René Girard said humans don't actually have independent desires. We copy the desires of the people around us. We want things because we see other people wanting them. The BMW guy didn't grow up dreaming of a BMW. He grew up seeing other people wanting one. Now, Overlay this concept with social media. For the BMW guy, his reference point isn't that uncle in Lucknow who's happy with his Maruti. His reference point is a 28-year-old founder on Instagram standing next to a Lamborghini in Dubai. And that comparison is a fight he is always going to lose. Point being, it was never about wanting that curated lifestyle. It was more like कि शर्मा जी की बेटे को पता होना चाहिए कि हमारे पास है. And honestly, I feel consumerism isn't 100% a bad thing. It actually helps fuel the economy to an extent. But when your identity becomes about what you own, what you purchase, that's cognitive dissonance right there, and that is the problem. So, under normal circumstances, lifestyle creep is just an expensive mistake. क्या ही होता है if you live paycheck to paycheck? The worst case is you retire later in your life. But we're not living in normal times. We're living in 2026, and there's one specific reason this is a dangerous mistake. In July 2025, TCS, India's largest private employer, said it would cut about 12,000 jobs in FY26. By the time the year ended, the actual number across the top 5 Indian IT firms was closer to 23,460. And this headline isn't just the scary part. Reuters did some more research, and for this they spoke to industry analysis. The analysts estimated that up to 500,000 jobs could be gone in the next 2 to 3 years. That too just from India's outsourcing sector, and that's valued at around $280 billion. All of this because of AI. And it isn't just India. Globally, in Q1 of 2026 alone, around 70,000 to 80,000 tech workers were laid off, all thanks to AI. That's roughly 868 layoffs every single day. Now, imagine you're that Gurgaon BMW guy, 40 lakh salary, EMI on a 2 BHK, EMI on the BMW, maybe an EMI on the iPhone, the sofa, that Bali trip. And one morning, your manager schedules a 15-minute calendar invite called Sync. You know what happens next. So this is what nobody tells you about lifestyle creep. The problem isn't that it's expensive. The problem is when you suddenly get laid off and you don't have a job and the bills keep coming. I mean, someone could be having a 1 lakh rupee home loan EMI, and let's say even after 6 months they can't find a job at that same salary level. They may even have to sell that house and move out. So, do you get it? Suddenly, it's not just a finance textbook gyan thing. This is adulting, it's real life. A huge reality check. And now, what saves you in this situation is that gap I spoke about. That boring gap between what you earn and what you spend. So for this, I've made a framework about how to avoid this lifestyle creep problem. These came out of my conversations with over a dozen finance experts on what actually keeps people poor. So just think about these as observations, anecdotal evidence, lived experience from my own life. I've essentially ranked them by impact. Please make a note of this list because I kid you not, just stick it wherever you work so you're constantly reminded of it. Because most personal finance content out there में पता है क्या होगा? Save more. रोज Blue Tokai coffee order करना बंद करो. But that's actually the least important stuff. Focus on the bigger picture. Rule number 1. Invest in your skills before you invest in stocks. For most people under 40, the return on your career is actually way more than the return of your portfolio. Everyone's going to talk about कि ये वाला fund या ये वाला stock return देगा. But what people don't understand is, yes, I need to invest, but to be able to widen the gap, it's more about not just reducing my savings, but increasing my income to actually get the income to invest. How does that happen? Well, you pick up skills that actually pay, choose the right companies to work with that will grow. Some people even get lucky with ESOPs to multiply their wealth. Basically, focus on your skills in your 20s so that you actually have something to invest. Returns ko dekho hi mat. Rule 2. Build more than one income stream. I realized it early that one salary means one risk. So even now I don't have one income stream. I do consulting projects, freelance work, brand collabs, just so that I'm hedging my risk in case I don't get anything from one particular income source. Now, I'm not saying have 10 different income streams, but even a small second stream changes your relationship with your boss. Your bargaining power will increase and it's just less stressful even if, God forbid, you get laid off tomorrow. There's a cushion you can fall back on. Rule 3. Build an emergency fund. I know you've heard this a lot, but please do it for real. I have about 6 to 12 months of expenses in liquid funds. You can choose the size of the fund basis the runway that you want or you're comfortable with. And I know it's not fun or exciting like, I don't know, a small cap fund, but it gives you a lot of stability. Rule 4. Marry the right person. Your biggest financial decision isn't a stock. It's your spouse. Say you're a spender and your partner is a saver. The entire marriage will be a constant struggle and कोई SIP इसको fix नहीं कर सकता. So my hot take is this. Your compatibility on money matters way more than your compatibility on, let's say, the movies you both like watching. Rule 5, the half rule. Every time your salary goes up by, let's say, X rupees, let your lifestyle increase by at most X by 2. The other half goes into investments and savings, and that too before it even touches your spending account. So you get to enjoy the raise. No one is asking you to not enjoy before you're 70, but upgrade your lifestyle in a sustainable way. Rule 6. Don't change your lifestyle from stock market gains. Those gains that you see on your broking app, those are notional until you sell it. It's not real until you actually hit that sell button. The minute you let your paper profit lead to a real lifestyle upgrade, that's it. It's game over. Because the gain is temporary, but that expense that you made, that is permanent. Market तो ऊपर नीचे होता ही रहेगा, but your EMI is forever. Rule 7. Be a focused spender, not just a frugal one. Forget about optimizing small expenses like Swiggy or Zomato orders, but watch the big 3 expenses. I'm talking about housing, vehicle, and recurring expenses. The $30,000 rent versus EMI decision, that's a call you need to take 360 times if it's a 30-year loan. So that one $300 coffee purchase, that is a one-time call, unless you're a coffee addict like me. But basically, focus on the 30,000 rupee questions. Don't get lost because of the noise. Rule number 8. If you can't afford it many times over, you can't afford it. ये एक simple thumb rule है. If buying something empties your account, it just gives you anxiety or makes you use your emergency fund, that's a red flag. For most everyday things, if you want to buy something, you should be able to buy it comfortably multiple times before you actually do. Rule number 9, upgrade slowly, don't jump. You don't need to go from a Honda City to a Porsche in one move. There are 40 cars in between. Upgrade your lifestyle in small, incremental, deliberate steps. I remember my first phone was a Nokia brick wala phone. Then it became a Motorola phone. Then it was some sasta Leiko phone in the middle. Then it became a OnePlus. For me, that was like a massive promotion. And now, for content, I have an iPhone. And this was over a span of 10 years. Rule number 10. Build self-worth that isn't tied to your net worth. थोड़ा सा deep है ये, but hear me out. देखो, status games are unwinnable. There's always someone richer, fitter, with a better flat, in a better pin code. The more you build an identity that doesn't need to win those games, the less your money has to do that tough, actually impossible job of making you feel okay about yourself. So, I hope this framework or mental model helps you rethink your money decisions. Also, for this episode, I designed a comprehensive AI prompt for a lifestyle finance planner. You just need to copy this master prompt and fill in some details like your salary, which city you live in, financial goals, etc. Put it in the LLM of your choice. It'll give you a personalized lifestyle upgrade plan that doesn't come at the cost of wealth building. So, you're enjoying life, but at the same time, it doesn't come at the cost of your investments. That full prompt is in the description below. Let's go back to that Gurgaon guy, that 34-year-old in the BMW who couldn't sleep. His problem was never that he didn't earn enough. He earns more than 99 out of 100 Indians. His problem was that his reference point was set somewhere he could never reach. हमेशा वो एक shifting goalpost बन जाता है. Every raise he got, he compared against a richer founder on Instagram. He has the money, but not a working definition of what's enough money. And no SIP can ever help you with that. So, I'm going to leave you with one thought. We talk a lot about how to grow our money, but we almost never talk about how to grow our definition of enough money. And so in a country where household debt is rising faster than savings, where AI is essentially just destroying the salaries that we used to use to inflate our lifestyle, where 70 lakhs can also make you feel poor, that second skill might even matter more than the first skill. So here's a question I want you to sit with. What if the next best financial move that you make in 2026 isn't picking the next multi-bagger, but deciding what amount of money would actually make you stop? This is Arunima Rao signing off. Until then, stay curious.